I reckon you are already familiar with participles, even if you don't know what this word means. You could say you are watching this video, right? If so, then you already know the present participle. You know, it's those words that look like verbs but with an ing stuck on the end, like watching or carrying or boring, that we use to make continuous tenses. If your mother tongue is in English, you might even think that it's one of those sorts of sounds which is a distinguishing feature of English. As for the other kind of participle, the past participle, well, they're less straightforward. Sometimes they look like a past simple verb with it stuck on the end, and sometimes they don't. You might know that a past participle is a past participle because it has some kind of have preceding it in some sort of perfect tense. However, past participles are not just used to create perfect tenses, nor present participles are just used to create continuous tenses. They are a bit more than that, and this video will look at what participles are in 3 ways that they get used in English. So that's what they look like, but what are they? Are they verbs? Well, not exactly. How's it going, everyone? I'm David and welcome to the English channel. So originally I was going to be making a video about reducing clauses using participles, but during its research I kind of got stuck on how to define what a participle is. It dawned on me that this was a bigger topic than I'd first realised, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a video on this instead. And before we begin, I would like to say a huge thank you to those of you who have subscribed to my channel. This is just a small channel right now, but your subscriptions have given me the encouragement to continue doing what I'm doing, so thank you very much. So, what are participles? You see, they are what some people call verbals, which are a class of words which include participles and gerunds. If you don't know, gerunds are words which look like present participles, but which have the function of a noun, like I am carrying the shopping. Shopping would be the gerund. But getting back to participles, Wikipedia describes them as a non-finite verb form which has some of the characteristics and functions of both verbs and adjectives. This basically means that in some situations they have the meaning of an action, but as they are non-finite, they cannot tell us anything about tense, or if the subject is singular or plural, or if it's first, second or third person. And it's important to remember that although they are called past and present participles, this doesn't actually refer to their tense. They can be in all tenses. Okay, so with the definition out of the way, let's take a look at 3 functions of participles. As I mentioned just a minute ago, participles are used to create continuous and perfect verb phrases. So we all know that we have to say, I am watching a video on YouTube. We can't say, I watching a video on YouTube, right? In this sentence, the auxiliary verb am is the finite verb, and together with the present participle gives us the verb phrase of the present continuous tense. We can still say that the participle gives us the most amount of information about the kind of action, only it cannot tell us about tense or about the subject. The past participle does the same, but for the perfect tenses. So with these, the auxiliary verbs have, has or had are the finite verbs, and with the past participle create the perfect tense verb phrase. So when you learn English, the grammar books use the word tense to mean things like past perfect or present continuous or future simple. The other parts of the tense names actually refer to something called aspect. It's really the true function of a participle when we use them to create a verb phrase. They give us information about the aspect of an action. It's aspect that tells us if the action is ongoing, as in the case of continuous, or if the action happened previously, we want to focus on the result, as in the case of the perfect aspect, or a combination of the two. The simple tenses are just that. They don't use a participle because, well, they're simple. So apart from the aspect and verb phrases, what other functions do participles have? As I mentioned earlier, participles can also have the function of an adjective where they modify a noun in some way, such as the bored student, which uses a past participle to describe most of my students. So here we are using the participles as adjectives attributively, which means they go before the noun they describe. They can also go afterwards as a predicate adjective if they follow some kind of linking verb like is or becomes or appears, like the phrase the film was very exciting or the man became tired. Sometimes it even gets a little bit tricky knowing whether a participle has a verb or an adjective function. Participles used as adjectives, also called participial adjectives, can tell us if something is causing a particular effect or if something is being affected by something else. When we want to say that something is causing a particular effect, we use a present participle as an active adjective, something like the crying baby. And when we state that something is being affected by something else, we use a past participle as a passive adjective, so the tired baby. This active and passive adjective thing conveniently leads us on to the last function of participles that I want to talk about in this video. So apart from being used as adjectives and helping us to show aspect in the verb phrases, the past participle is used to create the passive voice. So if you don't already know, the passive voice is used to say that something is the receiver of an action rather than it doing the action. There are various reasons why we might want to use the passive voice. Maybe we don't know who did the action, or maybe it's just obvious. The important thing to know is that we always use the past participle after some form of be verb. Be verb, as it's the finite verb, tells us the tense. So we could say something like, after stealing some Lamborghini, I was taken into the manager's office, or his hair should be cut by a professional. I'm leaving out one final function of participles, and it's a very cool function that relates to their use as adjectives, which I'm going to devote an entire video to. So if you want to know how to write more interestingly, more concisely, and just better using participle clauses, then remember to subscribe to my channel so you'll know when this video comes out. That's all for now. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you next time.